So hey there, welcome to the Caranova. This is my Yezdi Scrambler 2022 and I have completed 5200 kilometers and 6 months of ownership of this bike. So before talking about the small bits, I would like to dive deep into the mechanicals of this bike and what I feel about the mechanicals of the bike. I'm not going to read out the spec sheet because that you can find online, but I would like to share my experience and opinion of this bike. So the suspension. In the first impression video that I posted on YouTube a few months ago, I mentioned that the suspension is too stiff. And though I still stand by my point, but I'll have to differentiate it. I'll have to specify it even more now that I have experienced the bike well. So the low speed ride quality is still too stiff, but the high speed ride quality of this bike, now that is where I feel the bike really shines, because on the highways with these big tires and the suspension setup, you can literally not feel those small rumble strips, or if you are at a good speed, even the speed breakers, even the small speed breakers are just, you know, they just don't make it to the rider. And it's not just about the suspension, even the seats are neither too soft nor too stiff. Though one complaint I have with the seat is that it is too short, because whenever I'm sitting with a pillion, they find that the lack of grab rail, although this is a grab rail, but considering the amount of torque this bike has on offer, comparing it to the segment, it's quite a lot and it just pushes back. And one of the times I have seen my pillion actually almost fall off the bike when I revved this bike too hard. So that is one thing I would have liked better, but the seat cushioning is on point. And so let's not get diverted. Let's talk about the engine now. So the second service is either performed at 6 months or 6000 kilometers, whichever comes first. So my bike hasn't been ridden a lot lately, and as I mentioned, it has only been ridden 5200 kilometers. And since she had completed 6 months, I took her to the Yezdi service center and got her serviced. And except for the air filter, engine oil filter, and the basic changes that they do in every service, they also performed a bit of a software change. So basically they updated the software of the issue, and they told me that they clear the cache of the basically the bugs and the cache that the issue had. And they also told me that they installed a throttle body sensor, free of cost, which ESD is offering in their bikes now as of standard, but they are offering it to the existing owners. I'm not sure about how many batches, but my bike was in one of those batches which got it for free of cost. So I basically got it free of cost, which would have costed me around 2k rupees if it was not given by ESD. So that is a good thing, and that is all on the paper. Now let's talk about my experience post the second service of this bike. So as soon as the second service was done of this bike, I was coming home and there were minor changes, but those minor changes made a big impact on the overall riding experience of my ESD. Because earlier in second gear, I could not ride it in bumper to bumper traffic, just because she used to lug a lot. Basically, she even got switched off, like she used to cut off because of the lack of low end grunt, or maybe the not so well tuned power delivery. The power delivery wasn't that good below 2k rpm. So between 2 to 4k rpm, and that was a real big issue, because you ride basically in that rpm range when you are in bumper to bumper traffic. So that was one thing which was ironed out, and now the bike is a bliss to ride. There also used to be a flat spot between the 4 to 6k rpm range, but that has really improved post the update. And there used to be another minor issue, that whenever I cold started her, the bike used to switch off, and then in the second try I had to take a bit of I had to give her a bit of race, and then only she could keep up. But post the second service today itself, I started her after a week, I guess. And obviously she used to start in the first self earlier as well, but this time she did not go back to switching off, although you might even be able to see the fog, not exactly fog but smog, because it's post Diwali. So that is one thing that actually changed in the bike, and I'm actually happier than I was when I got the delivery of the bike, because even the suspension has now settled a bit better. I have understood the engine characteristics, and post the second service the engine characteristics have changed a bit as well, because of the power delivery changes that happened post the ECU update. And another thing I would like to mention is that post 6k rpm this bike is a legit beast. And I'm talking about the segment obviously, but for the segment this bike has enormous torque and power. Post 6k rpm it almost pulls like a locomotive, like literally. Post the 6k rpm this thing this thing is actually really addictive, because the pull is actually really healthy and great. So that is one thing I really love about the bike. And so let's now talk about the brakes. The brakes are actually quite strong, and talking about the brakes, I have ridden her not quite sanely, so the rear brake pads had to be changed at the second service itself. And talking about the ABS calibration, I will come to the ABS modes later, but the ABS calibration in road mode is actually perfect. It doesn't kick in too early and it never kicks in too late. It's just the perfect calibration you need on the road. And when you switch it on the rain mode, you can feel the ABS kicking in earlier, and it's not really intrusive, but it's precautionary. And I won't say that it's a bad tune of the ABS even when you switch it to the rain mode. And in the off-road mode, you can feel the rear ABS doesn't work. Basically it gets switched off. And the front ABS, I haven't really used the front brakes a lot while off-roading, because obviously you don't want to fall off. But I guess the front ABS also kicks in a bit too late. And now let's talk about the off-roading bits of the bike. So the ground clearance has never been an issue in this bike. I know it's not as high as the Himalayan or the Yezdi Adventure, but it does the job very easily. And I have taken her water wading, I have taken her to water at this level. And one advice from me: never take your bike in water to a level which crosses your airbox. So basically the airbox of the Yezdi is situated here, and I took it in water till this level. But the bike cut off as soon as, I guess, the sensor sensed that the bike is in too high level of water. And then I did not try to start the bike when it was in water. I took the bike out of the water, then I put it on stand. I tilted the bike, let the water come out of the silencer, and then there was this guy who suggested me to open the fuel lid, and let it dry for some time, and then it will start by itself. Like when you will start, it will start easily. So I gave her some time. I waited for half an hour, and then when I started the bike, she actually started. And I've even taken her to some rock climbing, not really hardcore rock climbing because you can't find it in the plains as I live in Lucknow, but I've taken it to slush off-roading in the rainy seasons, and I'll put some clips and some photos. And I've taken her to slush this deep, almost till the foot pegs, and she has never gotten stuck. Also the heating issues. So post the first service, I never felt the heating of the bike too much. I don't even remember when the bike heated too much, because that was actually before the first service, and the first service was done within the first week of the delivery. And post that, the bike hasn't really been ridden a lot, so I haven't even got the time to ride a lot. But whenever I rode it in the city in bumper to bumper traffic on long distances, I haven't really taken a long distances, just 200 kilometers, but even then I didn't feel the bike to heat up a lot. And the minor bits, the foot peg, the positioning is kind of like on point. It isn't too rear set, it isn't too front set, but still, if I had to tell you where it is biased, it's a bit front set, it's not too rear set, and that is quite good for touring. And as I mentioned even in the first impression video, the handlebar and the riding position of the bike for a person of my height, I'm 6 feet 2 inch, it's perfect. You'll have no issues with riding this bike even for long distances, as even the seat isn't too soft. And so that is one thing. And the smaller bits again, like this charger, it's actually quite fast, it charges really quick. And I have a OnePlus 8 Pro, and its mAh is I guess 4 or 5k, and even my phone gets charged to full capacity quite soon. So it's a thumbs up from my side. And now let's talk about the lighting. So I really like the LED indicators, and though the headlights are adequate, they are okay, but I still don't feel that they are enough for people who go night touring. So that is one thing you should keep in mind. The staff behavior in the service center is quite decent. They are not ill-mannered or nothing of that sort. But you have to keep in mind that the spares of the bike, though not really expensive, take time to arrive. Both my mirrors were stolen some time ago, and it took me almost 1.5 to 2 months to receive these two mirrors. And even the reflector was actually a guy on an Activa crashed into my reflector, and you can see the number plate has bended a lot. So even that took around the same amount of time. And there is another issue, you can see. I'll try to put a photo of it. There are dust particles getting inside the speedometer of my motorcycle, and that I have mentioned at the second service, and they said they'll get me a replacement. It actually costs 8k, but as it will be replaced under warranty, so it will be free of cost for me. And so far there hasn't really been any issues with the bike for me. But what I feel could have been better are small things like the details. The finishing of the exhaust doesn't really feel premium for a bike of 2.5 lakhs. The nuts here, they have turned silver, and they used to be black like over here. And even the paint quality, if you zoom in quite, I haven't really gotten it ceramic coated yet, but even before the delivery I realized the paint quality isn't really as good as the REs. So that is one thing you'll have to take. And the button quality is quite good. I haven't really felt any issues with the buttons, they are quite premium. And even the mirror, it's at a good distance, and I won't say it's really wide, but it does the job quite well, and it doesn't obstruct view. It's not like if you are wearing riding jackets or something like something like riding suit or jacket, it would not obstruct the view. The mirrors are decent enough for that. And the good bits like LED indicators, LED tail lamps, LED headlamps. So I'm actually quite impressed with the bike. Within the price bracket, the bike offers a lot of value, and I don't think I will want to change this bike even in the future, because I just hope the reliability of this bike is good, and there hasn't really been any complaints from my side as such. And whatever the complaints have been sorted out by the service center. So this is pretty much everything that I wanted to. Okay, another thing, the mileage. The mileage of this bike hasn't really gone up after the first service. People claim it reaches 35 kmpl, but I myself haven't really been able to cross the 30 kmpl barrier yet. And to be honest, I've even gotten 17 kmpl on the highway with just a single rider without a pillion. And though I will accept that it was on a state highway and I wasn't really riding very easy on, I wasn't really going very easy on the bike, but still I'm okay with the mileage. I don't mind it. But yes, if you are a sane rider, if you are a easygoing rider, you can actually extract good mileage from this bike. And so that is one thing. And to talk about the highway experience, actually the bike has been going really great. The cruising RPMs are really nice. If you slot her in the 6th gear, she reaches 100 kmph under the 6000 RPM barrier, and at 110 she reaches just at 6k RPM, just slightly above 6k RPM. And then you have all the grunt in the world to overtake trucks or cars or slow moving traffic. Basically, even the fast moving traffic she actually gives quite a competition to even the fast moving traffic, because as I told you, after the 6k RPM mark the bike really gets going. And even in the 6th gear, which is not really a, which is actually an override gear, but even in the 6th gear post 6k RPM she has quite a pull. So that is basically all about my Yezdi Scrambler. I know I haven't presented it as well as I should have, but I'm working on my skills and I hope to get better. And I will start making more videos. And thank you so much for watching this. Please tell me in the comments what all you would like to know about the bike, and I will make sure I answer your questions in the next video. Thank you so much. This is Caranova and I'm signing off. Thank you.